Uber Eats isn't punishing drivers the way most people think. They're not sending warning emails or suspension notices. Instead, what they're quietly doing is changing what we're supposed to expect with deliveries. Most of us think we're still signing up to just deliver food, but when we get those deliveries, we're actually doing grocery shopping as well. We're moving home improvement items, electronics, health aids, all sorts of convenience stores, and yeah, even construction materials. And I'm sure there's even more deliveries that we're not even aware of that we signed up for. And that's not what we expect. Uber Eats is food. We do food delivery. My name's Russ, and I've spent years working for Uber Eats. I love digging into their platform and figure out what they're up to. In this video, I'm going to share how we're conditioned to think that these kind of orders are acceptable. And I'm also going to go through what happens should you actually take one. I'll show you who actually benefits from these kind of orders. And then I'm going to give a tip that some drivers have used to dramatically reduce these kind of orders. Here's why I believe that Uber Eats is punishing drivers without even saying a word. It comes down to the basics. We're food delivery drivers. And as you know, there's restaurants that you go to, you pick up an order, you take it to the customer, and you drop it off. We slowly got used to when they incorporated shopping into that. So we go to the grocery store and we do some shopping. Then over time, things changed. Package deliveries came on the scene. And you may not have heard of Uber Direct yet. I'll get to that. So now we're taking packages, and that could be from the customers. I recall them talking about packing up a lunch for your son, and then an Uber Eats driver would take it. But there's also businesses that get involved in this. And this is where it's led to today, where you can have a variety of stores. In fact, if you go in the Uber Eats app and you bring up the order, now look there on the left side. See how it says retail deliveries? When you open that up as a customer, if you want to place an order, this is where you see Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, a whole bunch of stores. You'll even notice stores like Best Buy selling electronics that as the driver, we would bring it to the customer. Then there's other orders that we get that we don't see in that customer app. And you know why? That's because they're package and courier deliveries via Uber Direct. Before we move on, please share in the comments right now, what is the craziest offer that you've seen from Uber Eats, not for food? Put that in there and also share if it was awkward, disgusting, anything like that. And I think we're all going to be surprised at what we see in the comments of stories that drivers like you have seen. So thanks for doing that. So what happens if you actually take one of these kinds of offers? What are you going to see? Well, I've looked through the comments from my previous video, and one gentleman was saying $200 worth of groceries shopping that you get from a gas station. Also, Van Garrido says the Home Depot orders do not pay tips. It's not possible. They sent him a pallet of bricks for $1,200, almost 1,200 bricks for $12. And it said it was a package. And then he got another 12 tire order for $18, and it counts 4 tires as one package. So that's kind of ridiculous. And I know I've done some tire orders from a distributor. Here's another one from Nick. It says a story for you. He started 4 months ago, and he did a Home Depot order 4 miles from the house. And when he gets there, there's 10 wet bags of soil, and he's thinking it was close to 75 pounds. He's 68 years old, and he had just finished chemo and had suffered a stroke. So he takes this order, and then when he's going to drop it off, the customer comes to the door and says, "Take it back. I just had both shoulders operated on." That's crazy. So Nick had to bring all that back and then get a refund and obviously get paid for that work. What a mess. And then Twinson, thank you for commenting on this. He says that people are more generous when you deliver hot food from restaurants. And he's delivered to Home Depot before, and most of the time it's for the staff. They do tip well enough. Most businesses tip well, but rarely. Some don't, like a $250 order and they only tip $20. It says Home Depot orders works the same as DoorDash. The customer can't tip. They're done through a third party owned by Home Depot. So I'll get to that. And then here's another one from Vilturi Drecki. He ended up doing a Walmart, a kiddie pool, and it ended up having 2 holes in it. So he had to take it all the way back. So that shows the stores aren't even scrutinizing their merchandise. So he wasted a lot of time. Support gave him $4 for 40 minutes. And then here's a guy, I hope he's joking, probably as a customer. He says he orders 10 24 packs of water to be delivered to his door every month. And then here's a real insightful one from your mailman. He says he works at Home Depot in fulfillment. And he noticed a pattern of customers ordering the minimum, doing 6 or 7 orders of mulch, 5 bags each. That's like a pallet of mulch. That would be 35 pounds each. And basically, he's doing it on purpose to not have to pay the true delivery fee for a massive order like that, and using drivers like us to deliver them in batches. And then here's one from Blue Eagle. It says tipping is not an option when ordering through the merchant. He went to the Home Depot website to see the process. He could get the 40-pound bag of salt that I had delivered for free, or pay $2.99 and have it delivered today. So $2.99. And then here it said when ordering that through Uber Eats, a $3 tip was suggested to say thanks to your shopper. Here's Patriot First, said he delivered nearly $1,000 worth of stuff from Home Depot in the rain, and he got a $6 tip. William, he refuses all package deliveries in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Says they pay 30 cents a mile, many over 20 miles distance. Eddie mentions that the customers are getting free delivery from ordering online from Home Depot, Walmart, Sephora, GameStop, pharmacies, etc. He doesn't accept them because they rarely tip, and they see it as a free delivery. So that's been outsourced to us, which I'll get to here. Here's one from Breathe5431. She took a DoorDash offer for Lowe's, $12, stacked with a Walgreens, and on the way, she saw that she was going to get 7 bags, the 40-pound things of salt. She's a 71-year-old female in a tiny car. So she had to load and unload it by herself. And then she realized it's 21 miles away from the Walgreens drop-off, so she's going to be much more careful now. Here's a good one. Craig mentions that he's done Lowe's and Home Depot. Plants are the worst because they're dirty, and the workers even have trouble finding them. Here's a good one for Fort tonight. One of them were large pieces of wood planks, which barely fit in the car. And then he had to deliver to the 18th floor of a high-rise. Another was a stack of heavy tiles, which again, he had to carry up a flight of stairs, and no tip. So that is not good. And Spaceman pointed out, listen to this. This is important when I get to this next section. It says construction materials get delivered to ground floor only in the trades. That way contractors know they need to come down and sign for the material. So that's what he does with the Home Depot orders, is only deliver downstairs. Don't be hauling a bunch of construction materials up. So that's insightful. So I've mentioned Uber Direct a couple times. Pull out your phone and let's go here together. We're going to peek behind the curtain. I love digging into their system. So if you go to developer.uber.com and bring that up, you're going to see the moving developers. Hit the Explore Docs, and then you'll see Uber Eats. Scroll down more. Uber Direct. Look at this. This is for businesses outside of Uber Eats. It says leverage Uber's courier network to deliver your orders. This is talking to businesses. Look at View Docs. Overview. So it says it enables merchants like you to integrate your applications with Uber's direct order delivery system. So that's using, like, say, Home Depot uses their in-store system, but it connects directly with Uber Eats to send drivers like us out there. So the difference in the marketplace is when you have a restaurant, they actually are probably putting their menus, they're integrating their system into Uber Eats as part of that ordering. And so that's a whole different thing. Businesses that have nothing to do with food delivery, they're using Uber Direct, and then the offer comes through and we treat it like a food delivery, or thinking, oh, this has got to be easy. Not necessarily the case. And I already mentioned, like Spaceman mentioned, about the trades. So think of this. Why would a company want to use Uber Eats? A lot of the big places, like talking about a pallet of mulch or furniture delivery. All these companies already have their own workers and they pay them quite a bit to make deliveries. And obviously, many times, you remember back in the day, if you bought something, it was like a $200 delivery fee. They're skipping all of that and they're keeping that money because they just outsource and we get the offer as a driver. And there's not going to be a tip. We're just going to say get $10 for a delivery. So what this is doing is disrupting the whole industry. Pretty much we're becoming like the lowest bidder, the cheapest labor possible. And we're so used to doing like a quick McDonald's order, we think, oh, no big deal, until you find out it's bags of horrible things. And don't even think that you're going to get a tip from these kinds of orders. If anything, all you're going to see is the offer. That's all the pay you're going to get. So if you do choose to take orders like this, you better make sure it's profitable and don't have any hopes that later on when you delivered all those tires or bags of manure that you're going to get a tip. You're probably not, because all these companies are saving money. Instead of using their own workers, they're using you. So what can you do about this? This is a great tip that many drivers have used to not have to deal with this or dramatically reduce the amount of orders they're seeing like this via Uber Direct. Call UberEats support. And there's been many comments that I've seen that people said when they do this, they may have to call back a few times, but make sure that you're opting out of package deliveries and courier services. And you can even mention Uber Direct orders that you don't want any part of this. Now, I will caution you, I think just like in life, a lot of companies have outsourced their customer service function to overseas. So the agents, they don't speak English well. And I don't even think they really understand us. I'm sure they have a script that they use and they force you to go through no matter what you're saying. So just be extremely patient because they're probably not going to do what you expect. So you may have to call back a few times and talk to different people. And eventually, I think you'll find success to where they're just going to eliminate them or you're going to see far less of them. And potentially, let's say it's a Walmart issue and you've opted out of everything, but you keep seeing Walmart ones. The next time you call, maybe just specifically say, I want out of the Walmart deliveries. The reason you really want to do this is because we're independent contractors. We're not employees of UberEats. And as an independent contractor, we have to be able to choose our own work. And so UberEats support, they should realize the importance of this and comply with our requests. So just be patient. So let's get into the app and I'm going to see if I can figure out how to turn off something. And again, it's going to depend on your market. So in mine, at the bottom, there's those two, whatever shapes they are for settings. In mine, all I see is delivery and rides. We'll do some, push the see more. Oh, okay. It brings up Work Hub. This is for delivery. I'm approved for alcohol, insulated bags, shop and deliver. So that wasn't helpful at all. And then down below, obviously I have accept cash turned off, and I've mentioned that before. I do have shop and deliver orders on, and I also am good for teen requests, and I have insulated bags. So I don't see anywhere in here that I could turn off package deliveries. Maybe the app is different in your market, but ultimately I think contacting customer support is the only way you're going to be able to do this. I think it's worth it if especially, think about this. We're all different ages and physical capabilities. So delivering food is really light, less than a pound or two. That's a big difference from a 40-pound bag of rock salt or bags of manure or mulch or a heavy mini fridge or anything that you can think of in your car. We all have different physical limitations. So if this is something you don't even want to take a chance on, I would say call them and opt out. That way you don't have to deal with it. You can only do food deliveries or shopping. That is vastly much easier. I trust that you now see what's really going behind the scenes when you try to opt out of these things. The story gets deeper though. So there's many kind of orders. What happens when you decline, when you refuse to accept any offer that UberEats sends you? I've got good news for you. I've made a video where I go through how UberEats actually punishes you when you decline any offer, because you know why? They want you to take every offer. So watch that video next, and I'll see you there.